When you hear the word plague, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's the Black Death, that terrifying pandemic that swept across Europe in the 14th century, leaving an indelible scar on history. We picture plague doctors in their eerie masks, deserted streets, and a world gripped by fear. But what if I told you that nearly 800 years before the Black Death, another, equally devastating plague brought one of the world's greatest empires to its knees? This is the story of the Plague of Justinian, the forgotten pandemic that history almost left behind. Our story begins in the 6th century, in the bustling heart of the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire. On the throne sat Emperor Justinian I, a man of immense ambition. His dream was to restore the Roman Empire to its former glory, to reconquer the lost Western territories and reunite the Mediterranean world under his rule. And for a time, it seemed like he would succeed. His brilliant general, Belisarius, was winning victory after victory, retaking North Africa, Italy, and parts of Spain. The empire was expanding, trade was flourishing, and the magnificent city of Constantinople was the jewel of the known world. But a silent, invisible enemy was about to arrive, one that no army could defeat. The year is 541 AD. In the dusty port of Pelusium in Egypt, a Roman frontier town and a major hub for grain shipments, something is wrong. People are suddenly falling ill with a mysterious sickness. It starts with a fever, chills, and fatigue. Then come the telltale signs: painful swellings in the groin, armpits, and neck. These swellings, known as buboes, are the horrifying signature of bubonic plague. From Pelusium, the disease hitched a ride on the very grain ships that fed the empire. Hidden in the sacks of wheat were black rats, and on those rats were fleas carrying the deadly bacterium Yersinia pestis, the same culprit responsible for the Black Death centuries later. The plague's journey followed the empire's own supply lines. It spread like wildfire up the Nile, across the Mediterranean, and straight to the capital, Constantinople. At its peak, the city was a scene of unimaginable horror. The historian Procopius, an eyewitness to the devastation, wrote that the plague was killing up to 10,000 people a day. So many died so quickly that there was no time or space for proper burials. Bodies were piled up in the streets, tossed into the sea, and stacked in fortified towers until they overflowed. The stench of death hung over the city like a shroud. Procopius described a world turned upside down, where society completely broke down. Homes were left empty, farms were abandoned, and the living were too busy mourning or fearing for their own lives to care for the dead. Even the emperor himself was not spared. Justinian contracted the plague and fell gravely ill. For a time, it seemed certain he would die, and the empire held its breath. Miraculously, he survived, but he was a changed man, and his empire was forever weakened. The plague raged for months in Constantinople before finally subsiding, but its reign of terror was far from over. Over the next 2 centuries, it would return in waves, sweeping across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, each time claiming more lives and chipping away at the foundations of the Roman world. So what was the long-term impact of this forgotten pandemic? It was catastrophic. Historians estimate that the Plague of Justinian may have killed between 25 and 50 million people, possibly wiping out as much as a quarter of the world's population at the time. The sheer scale of death had profound consequences. Justinian's dream of a restored Roman Empire died with the millions of his subjects. His armies were decimated, his treasury was emptied, and his newly conquered territories were quickly lost. The massive depopulation led to a severe labor shortage, crippling agriculture and trade. The economic and social fabric of the ancient world was torn apart. Some historians argue that the Plague of Justinian was a pivotal turning point in history. It weakened the Byzantine Empire so significantly that it could no longer effectively defend its borders, paving the way for the Arab conquests in the 7th century. It helped to usher in the so-called Dark Ages in Europe, a period of decline and fragmentation. It fundamentally reshaped the map and the future of the Western world. The classical era of Rome was truly over, and the medieval world was beginning to take shape from its ashes. So why have so many of us never heard of it? Why does the Black Death get all the attention? There are a few reasons. Firstly, the Plague of Justinian happened much earlier, during a period from which fewer written records survive. While we have the powerful account of Procopius, It's one of the few detailed eyewitness reports we have. The Black Death, happening centuries later during the late Middle Ages, was documented far more extensively. Secondly, the world it struck was different. The Byzantine Empire, though powerful, was more centralized in the eastern Mediterranean. The Black Death struck a more interconnected and populous Europe, and its impact on the societies that would eventually give rise to the Renaissance and the modern Western world was more direct and more thoroughly studied. But thanks to modern science, the Plague of Justinian is no longer forgotten. In recent years, archaeologists and geneticists have worked together to uncover the truth. By extracting ancient DNA from the teeth of 6th century skeletons found in plague burial sites, scientists have confirmed that the bacterium responsible was indeed Yersinia pestis. Not only that, they identified a specific strain of the bacterium that caused the pandemic, a different branch of the family tree from the one that caused the Black Death. This incredible scientific detective work has brought the story of this ancient plague back to life, confirming the accounts of historians like Procopius and giving a voice to the millions who perished. The story of the Plague of Justinian is a powerful reminder that history is full of hidden chapters and forgotten events that had a massive impact on our world. It shows how a tiny, invisible organism can bring a mighty empire to its knees and alter the course of civilization. It's a chilling parallel to our own times, reminding us of the fragility of our interconnected world in the face of a pandemic. The next time you think of the great plagues of history, remember it wasn't just the Black Death. 8 centuries earlier, the Plague of Justinian delivered a devastating blow that helped end the ancient world and set the stage for the one we know today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into forgotten history. Let me know in the comments what other historical mysteries you'd like to explore. See you in the next video.